Shalom, friends. Rob Vanoff here with TelosTorah and Rob on the Rock. I'm going to do a video here on this week's Torah portion, Vayyakhel, extending from Exodus 35 through most of chapter 38, about 122 verses, I think, in the Torah portion. Today we're going to do something I haven't done before. Well, maybe I have something similar, but I'm going to contrast two verses from chapter 37, 17 and 23, with their parallels from Exodus 25. So remember, Exodus 25 begins Parashat Terumah. That tells us all about all the goods of Moses' reception for 40 days and 40 nights of the plan for the Mishkan, for the tabernacle, the Mikdash, that is to be built, right? And Moses gets all this, of course, even the names of Bezalel and Aholiab, etc., before the golden calf incident. And then after the golden calf incident, which is where we are this week, we see that it's actually built to spec. Sure enough, Bezalel, sure enough, Aholiab, they step up and they do exactly what God said would happen. And like I hinted in the other video I did for the Rob on the Rock channel today, that I believe there is a pattern that follows the name of God here, and even the creation pattern itself from Genesis 1. Let there be light, or let light be, Yehi or, Vayhi or, and light was. And the only difference here is that intervening with the creation of the tabernacle is the inclusion or participation of humans, of course, but this crazy, idolatrous, unbelievable almost disruption of the golden calf incident. But nevertheless, I want to show here. So for those who've done a little bit of Hebrew, I think this might be helpful. And again, I'm only selecting one example. One could do what the pattern of what I want to show here with any of the building work that's described, both as future in before the golden calf, and then as actually being done and fulfilled post golden calf, which is where we are this week in chapter 37, the two that we're going to look at. But the order I have here, this text here in Hebrew is a little smaller because I wanted it to be able to fit on the screen together. So we're going to look at Exodus 25:31. And again, this has to do with the menorah specifically. And then on the bottom is from this week's Torah portion. So the 25:31 is from a couple weeks ago. 37:17 is this week's Torah portion, but it's the fulfillment verse. So what we're looking at is the promise verse, where God's telling Moses this is what's going to happen. At the top, only Moses knows this, right? So that Exodus 25:31, this is insider knowledge between Moses and God initially. But Exodus 37:17 is the fulfillment where Bezalel and the others are actually doing this very thing. And of course, Bezalel is generally the subject of these verbs that we'll see in the verses from chapter 37. So let's look at this one, and then we'll look at another pair for this video. But again, you could take any one of these descriptions, God telling Moses privately before the golden calf, and then look at its fulfillment publicly on earth, right? On earth as it is in heaven. As it is in heaven is before the golden calf. On earth is after the golden calf. Okay, so 25:31, again, this is from Parashat Terumah. It says, V'asita menorat zahav tahor. So, and you will make, for those who've done some Hebrew, asita itself is a perfect, right? Second is just a call. It's a lamed hey verb. So it's the root letter has a hey for its third, the root rather, as a hey for its third letter. Asita, you made, but it's a vav hipuk. Ve asita menorat zahav tahor. You will make a menorah of zahav, of gold. And in Hebrew, we put our adjective after the noun. Unlike English, I'll say the red car. I don't say the car red, right? I say the red car. In Hebrew, you say gold, pure. So zahav, gold, tahor, pure. But it still, of course, it agrees. Those have to agree in gender and number. They're masculine, singular. So v'asita menorat zahav tahor. Now notice we have menorah, like we hear, ha-menorah. Ha-menorah. That's the full spelling, full name of the object. Here we have the construct form, menorat. Menorat. And here it is a what we call a construct form, smichut, but it's the construct of composition, what something's made of. So when it says menorat zahav, it means a menorah made of gold. So a menorah of gold, right? If you say God of Abraham, that would be a similar construction in Hebrew. God of Elohei Avraham. It doesn't mean God is made of Abraham. It's not a God made of Abraham. So not every construct form, not every smichut form in Hebrew is this serves the same exact purpose. Here, it is indicating to us composition, what is something is made of. V'asita, and you will make, menorat zahav tahor, of gold, of pure gold. Miksha te'aseh ha-menorah. So miksha, that's a hammered work from kasha. This is translated a hammered work. Te'aseh ha-menorah. Notice ha-menorah is feminine. Te'aseh, that's our imperfect nifal. It's feminine. Te'aseh, she will be made. So te'aseh in and of itself is she will be made. Who will be made? Ha-menorah. Te'aseh ha-menorah. The menorah will be made what? Miksha. That means hammered. Again, now it's describing the technique of its construction, not the material. The material is zahav tahor. So back to the beginning. V'asita menorat zahav tahor miksha te'aseh ha-menorah. Then it tells us yerecha. Notice we have these two hays here with the mapik. That means her. So her base, yerekach, ve'kanach, right, and her main branch, basically. And then it says givieha. So a gavia is a cup. But so givieha, her cups, kaftoreha. Here it says bulbs, which is fine. Ufracheha, and her flowers. Mimena yehu, will be of it, from it. So that is from that same gold. But notice here, so a lot of this will be repeated in 37:17, as we'll see. But notice what will not be, what we'll focus on specifically are the verbs. Ve'asita is, and you will make. And then we have te'aseh, she will be made, because the subject there is the menorah. And then we have yehu, they will be. That is, all these things will be from her, from this menorah of gold. Okay, now we're going to look at the parallel, what I'm calling the fulfillment verse in 37:17. Notice the first words here. Vaya'as et ha-menorah zahav tahor. And he made the menorah pure gold. and he made the menorah pure gold. So at the top of Asita, Menorat Zahav Tahor, there's no definite object, what do we call it? I can't even remember what it's called. The word the. We don't have the ha, right? We don't have our word the there. We have the asita menorat zahav tahor. Then we have vaya'as. Then we have our et, because we have a definite direct object. We have our definite article, ha menorah zahav tahor. So they're very close, except in 25:31, it's ve'asita, and you will make a menorah of pure gold. Now it becomes the, it's defined, vaya'as, and he made, et ha-menorah, he made the menorah. So it was indefinite in 25:31. Now in fulfillment, it is definite, ha-menorah, zahav tahor. Everything else is the same. Then it goes, miksha is the next word, miksha. But instead of te'aseh ha-menorah, the menorah will be made, it says asa et ha-menorah. He made the, again, we have et plus the definite article, asa et ha-menorah. He made the menorah. Here's another little tiny detail. Notice up above in 25:31, te'aseh ha-menorah, the menorah will be made. Notice the spelling on menorah. Not only does it have the definite article, but it's a full, what we call malay, full spelling. It's got the cholam vav. Whereas here, asa et ha-menorah, he made the menorah. So this happens in Hebrew a lot of times. A word can have what we call a balei spelling and a chaser spelling. And there's countless words like this, but this is one. Sometimes it'll be spelled fully with the vav, sometimes with not, but it's always pronounced the same way. So, asa et ha-menorah. So now we've shifted from the menorah will be made to he made the menorah. And then the list here of all the components, its base, its shaft, etc., etc., givieha, kaftoreha, ufracheha, all her flowers, mimena, hayu. Hayu. So instead of yehu, they will be, here it says hayu, they were. Everything else is the same. So do you see what I mean? It's the same pattern if we contrast example like these two verses with yehi or, let light be, vayhi or, and there was light. You will make the menorah. He made the menorah. The menorah will be made. He made the menorah. All the components of it will be one with it, will be from it, will be of one piece with it, and they were of one piece with it. Yehu, this is an imperfect, becomes a perfect. Hayu. Okay, so that's one example. We're going to do one more example, which contrasts Exodus 25:37, also from the menorah, description from Parashat Terumah, and this week's 37:23. I might be able to make this one a little bigger. Oh, that's too big. Back one more. There we go. So let's look at 25:37 here. It says again, va'asita, and you will make neiroteha shiva. You will make her 7 lamps, her neirot. Ve'elah et neiroteha ve'heir al ever paneha. It says you shall make its lamps 7, right? It's 7 lamps. And then it says, and he will mount the lamps, and it will give light across before her. That is before, paneha means before her. That is in front, spatially in front or before the menorah. So the light goes from the menorah outward, and the menorah will shine basically its light to the north over the table of showbread. And then we see in 27:23, Vayyakhel et neroteha shiva. Now, there are some places where the verses diverge, where it's not exactly mirrored, but the general picture is, just as we see here, Va'asita et neroteha shiva, you will make her 7 lamps, Vayyakhel et neroteha shiva. And again, we have the Vav Hipuk form, that's the Vav plus the perfect in Parashat Terumah. But here we also have a Vav Hipuk, but it's the other kind of Vav Hipuk. We have the Vav plus, here it's a shortened form of the imperfect here, Vayyakhel, and he did. So my suggestion, again, in both these cases, is that we have a pattern of God saying, this is what I want, this is what will be. We could call that a promise. We could call it a creative utterance. And then we have its fulfillment. Let light be, and there was light. And you will make the menorah, and he made the menorah. And again, the difference is in the creation account, there's nothing intervening between God's creative word and it coming to pass, at least in the text. It's immediate. He spoke and it was. So there are similar aspects in our view of the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, the instructions for the tabernacle, fully given to Moses, the disruptive idolatry of the golden calf, the restoration, 40 more days and nights for Moshe, and then the fulfillment. But my core point here is just the simple observation that the tabernacle that we read about in this week and next week, Pikudei, which is the last Torah portion of the book of Exodus, is the very tabernacle that God commanded Moses before the golden calf. So God got what he wanted. He got exactly what he said he was going to get. The golden calf incident, as harsh and as brutal of idolatrous foolishness as that was, it did not change the fact that God still got what he said that he was going to get. He still used Moses to convey the instructions that were given to him before the disruption. The same people came, Bezalel, Oholiab, etc., to do their labor. And as we'll see time and time again, reiterated in next week's Torah portion, Pikudei, and they did it exactly as God had commanded Moses. They built it just as the Lord had commanded Moses. So that means the pattern, just to the Lord's Prayer, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, is not a wish. It's not stated as a wish. It's stated as a confident act, a confident truth, a fundamental, you could say, belief or understanding of God's character, that God's covenant promises are sure, and he ensures them by swearing by his own name that he's going to do this or that. And you can take that to the bank. And that is the confidence that undergirds all the faithful, all the righteous, and their belonging to the people of God. It is not by their own works, but it's by faith. And works by definition follow. Works that are pleasing to God are born of faith. One cannot just start doing works and earn their way into belonging to God's people or pleasing God. Faith is the core understanding, and that faith isn't even something that we muster. The faithfulness is a confidence in God's faithfulness and a recognition of our own fallibility, but a sure, unshakable trust in and knowledge that what he says he gets. As it is in heaven, so let it be on earth. And in the same thing we see back to our Torah portion, as Moses was told privately on Mount Sinai, which is a picture of heaven, so too was built publicly for all to see on earth. All right, friends, another just short snippet thinking about some different aspects of our Torah portion. I hope these are encouraging for you and get you deeper into the text. Until next time, this is Rob from TelosTorah. Shalom.